This conference will now be recorded.
Hi friends, good evening in this Business Intelligence Master Program. So in today's session, we will talk about Azure Functions integration with Azure Data Factory. Okay, what is this Azure function and when we will use this Azure function and what all languages it will support. Okay, all those things we'll discuss and we will see. So we know Python code, right? So I won't write very complex Python code. I'll just write a small Python code, simple, taking the name and it is printing. Okay, simple name, I'll just pass it and I will return it to a my Azure Data Factory activity as the output. How you can do this particular activity we are going to learn. So if you are going to use Azure functions in your project as part of requirement, and if you are going to use any other language apart from Python, or even if you're using Python very complex code, everything you can able to execute and everything you can able to do it from this particular session. Okay, so I will give all the required knowledge with respect to the Azure functions. In today's session we will talk about what is function app, Azure function integration with Azure Data Factory, how we are going to do. Then we will talk about install VS Code, Visual Studio Code. I don't know how many of you know. We need to install the Visual Studio Code for this. Then we need to install the Azure modules in VS Code. Okay, we need to install some Azure modules in the Visual Studio Code. So these are the things we'll do. Next, we will create the Azure function app from VS Code. From that particular tool itself, we need to create the Azure functions, because from portal, if you try to create, you will not see all the options. You will not see all the options if you are trying to create the Azure function app from the portal. I will show you the difference between creating the Azure functions from portal and from the tool, Visual Studio Code. What is Azure function app? Anybody have any idea what is Azure function app? So anybody know what is serverless? What is serverless? Anybody have any idea what is serverless? Remember, serverless is nothing but it doesn't mean that we don't have servers. Without servers, nobody can able to execute anything, right? We need a servers, we need a compute power. How we have Azure integration with that compute power, we need some computers, laptops, okay, to do any processing. Now, without, what is Azure function? You were saying Azure function is a serverless. What it means is you are not maintaining those servers. If you look at Databricks, I am creating the Databricks cluster. I am deciding how many nodes I need. What is my cluster size? I am deciding. Meaning it's not a serverless, it's a server. We are deciding servers. But Azure function, you no need to create any servers and nothing. Simply, you just focus on your code, you develop your code, put it in your Azure functions. Azure functions will execute your code. What all languages code it will support, we will discuss now. Okay. Azure function is a cloud service. We know all these are cloud services available on demand that provides all the continually updated infrastructure. Let's say continuously something, some infrastructure is updating. What is infrastructure? Okay, example, to take the class, I need a documentation, I need a laptop. In the same way, to execute a code, we need some servers. Okay, we need some runtime, right? So all these things is nothing but infrastructure. So all these infrastructure you will have in a backend. You no need to worry about that particular infrastructure, and this infrastructure will upgrade continuously as per your need. You no need to worry about that updates, those installations, that maintenance. You no need to worry about all these things. I can completely focus on my business. I can completely focus on my code. Okay, example, if you look at Databricks, you need to worry about cluster, whether cluster is started or not. If cluster is not started, why it is not started, you need to start it. You need to increase the compute power if the compute power is not sufficient. But Azure functions is a serverless. As per your need, you just submit, you write it, develop a code and submit in Azure functions. Azure functions will take care of everything. Resources needed to run your application. So all the resources which is need for your application to run. Okay, if you want to run your application, whatever resources required, everything will be maintained, will be set up in a backend. So that's why it's a serverless. You are not worrying about any server. Everything will be maintained in a backend. You focus on a piece of code that matter most to you. What you need, I need to write some piece of code. That piece of code I need to focus. What is the performance way? What is the better performance? How to write a code to get the better performance? All these things I need to consider to write a code. Okay, Azure functions can handle the rest of the things. You just write your piece of code and give it to the Azure functions. Azure functions will take the rest of the things, everything whatever is required to execute this code, everything will be taken care by the Azure functions. Now Azure function app supports multiple languages. Okay, Azure function app supports multiple languages: Python, C Sharp, Java, PowerShell, JavaScript, and some other languages also it will support. But if you're trying to create Azure functions from the portal, you may not be able to see all these options. Example, Python, you will not be able to see if you're trying to create the Azure functions app from the portal. I will show you that. Okay, so that's why we need to install the Visual Studio Code. From Visual Studio Code, we need to install the we need to create the Azure function app. I will tell you all those things. Next, Azure functions integration with ADF. See, in Compute, we discussed almost all these things. Today, we are talking about Azure functions. In this, so by using this particular linked service, by using this Compute, we are going to connect to the Azure functions. What is Azure functions? Event trigger plus code. So these Azure functions can be run based on how we have event triggers in Azure Data Factory. In the same way, whenever some new file came, so I want to trigger Azure function, something like that, you can able to trigger your Azure functions, or you can call your Azure functions from the Azure Data Factory. Whatever you want to do, you can able to do. Okay, so triggering plus code, everything is available. So triggering and coding, both you can call it as a Azure function. This trigger can be a, you can schedule it, you can call it from a some Azure Data Factory and other services, or you can just make it as an event trigger. Event trigger. Whenever some file comes, I want to run this particular Azure function, anything you can do. Next, required resources for this lab is Azure Data Factory, Azure Function App, Visual Studio Code we need to install. Then we need to install the Azure modules in Visual Studio Code, and then we need to create Azure functions from the VS Code, Visual Studio Code. Okay, that's all slides I have. So let me quickly go into the portal. First, let's try to create Azure function from the portal. So let me just explain the problem to you first. Go to Function App, click Add. Okay, resource group is, let's take anything. Yeah, let's create a new one if you want. Click OK. Function app name I can say Cloud Monday Function app. Okay, so code. Okay, so I want to execute a code. You see here, are you seeing anything Python here? Are you seeing anything here Python? No, right? We're not seeing anything Python, but we don't know like Java, PowerShell, or Node.js, .NET. See, you no need to know, but at least you will get some sample code if you create. But I don't want you to confuse. I want to make it a Python code so that, as I have already explained Python, so it will be easy for you to handle with Python code. Okay, that's why, as you don't have runtime called Python, right? That's why I want to create a function app from the portal. I will create from the Visual Studio Code. Now come here and say Visual Studio Code download. Okay, enter. Go inside this. This is very simple, 64 MB. Okay, see, you just click on Windows, immediately it will start downloading. Yes, it is downloading. You see, okay, I'm just canceling because I already downloaded this. Okay, as I already downloaded this, what I'm doing, I'm just canceled this. So once you download this, okay, let's say you go to downloads. Today itself I have installed, I think, yes, this is the Visual Studio.exe. Double click on this. If you have not installed, you can able to install. Double click on this. What it is saying, setup has detected that Visual Studio Code is currently running. It is already available. Okay, so you just double click, so you know how to install the software. Next, you can do very simple installation. once you installed Visual Studio Code, just enter, open this. Okay, I already opened this. Let's close this and let it open. So when you first time when you see this, you will see something like this. Okay, first thing that you need to do is go to here, click on this, find the, just say Azure functions. Azure functions. See, when you say Azure functions, there will be two things: Azure account and Azure functions. First, click on Azure account. So click install Azure account. It will install. Go to Azure functions. So we need to connect to the Azure account. Then we need to create the Azure function. That's why let me install the Azure functions extension as well. These two things we need. Okay. Okay. So when you create these two, see, this is the Azure symbol, right? So this symbol will come. Previously, this was not there. If you remember, okay, click on this. Okay. Now, when you click on this, see, it will show all these subscriptions. Why it is showing all the subscription? So for you, it will not show all these things. For me, it is showing all these things because I already logged in the morning. So for you, it will ask you to sign in into the Azure. Okay, it will ask you to sign in into the Azure. So once you sign in, it will show you all the subscriptions that are available. So my active subscription is this one. Okay, right click on this subscription. So in this subscription, I want to create a function app. Okay, create function app in Azure. So you want to open it in portal, you can do that. Otherwise, you can say create function app in Azure. So directly you can create a function app from here. It will be created in a portal. Right click on this. So here you can say Cloud Pandit Funk. Okay, Cloud Pandit Funk. Okay, Cloud Pandit function app, enter. Okay, I entered. Now it will tell you all the languages it will support. See what language, in which language you want. Okay, so you can say Python 3.8. So anything you can use. Okay, latest Python version you can use. In which location you want to create this Azure function in East-US. That's all. With this information, it is going to create the Azure function app. Okay, Azure function app it is going to create. So if you want to see that Azure function app, you can just wait for some time. This will be created in your Azure portal here. This will be available. Meanwhile, what I will do, I'll just create the Azure data factory because as we need the Azure data factory. Let's go through this. Yeah, let me, whoever need this, suppose if you are, so I'll just give this link, copy link, say, just, I'm just sharing this link in chat window. If you want, you can take it. I'm just come here. You can say portal.edge.com. Okay, let's create the data factory meanwhile. Search for data factory. Click on data factories. Click add to create the data factories. Resource group is this one. You know, right? Cloud Pandit Punk app. What is this? I'm not creating. Let's create a new one. Cloud Pandit VI. Okay. So what it has done, you understood something. So it has created the resource group as your resource name. Resource group is also like your resource name. See, this is the function app it has created. This function app is created in a resource group. Resource group name is same as a resource. You check that. That's why it was showing the resource group it has created with the same as a resource name or resource name. Resource group name and resource name is both the same. Okay, fine, that's okay. This is inside this you need to go to functions. Okay, you need to create the functions. Okay, click add. Okay. So see, it is asking you to install VS Code or any editor plus core tools. Okay, any editor plus core tools. But we already installed the VS Code Visual Studio Code, right? So I want to write my code everything in a Visual Studio Code. How to do that? Come here. Okay. Now click on this new file. Sorry, not new file. Do one thing. Come here. Come here. Okay, right click on this. This. One second. See, now I'm just selecting where I need to store my function app code. For now, I want to store it in my local system. Okay. So as I want to store it in my local system, I think yeah, Azure Funk. Okay. Okay, let me just create one more folder for each system. Azure Funk 2. Okay. This is the folder. In this folder, I will keep all my code. Click select. Okay, so I just created the folder in that particular place. See, it's basically create a new project. I am creating the new project. So in which language? Python, we know, right? In Python, we want to create the project, and which version of Python you want to use? Python 3.9.1, which is installed in my local system. And how you want to call this particular code through the URL. URL means HTTP trigger. Select this. So what is the name of your function? Remember, this is the actual function. In that func app, in that functional app, you can create the multiple functions. So I am going to create Cloud Pandit first function. Cloud Pandit first function is your function name. Remember, again and again I'm telling. This is important. That's why. Okay. Cloud Pandit first function is your function. Okay. Now enter. So who can access this function? Anonymous, anybody, because this is basically we are creating for practice. We can say anonymous. Only admin people or only whoever is access, something like that. If you want to control that permissions, you can do. Anonymous means anybody can access. Okay. Next, I want to open this project code, everything in a current window. Just open in current window. That's all. So it is going to create the actual function, and it will generate some files for us. Okay, those files we can edit it. Just you need to wait. You need to see creating virtual environment 2 by 5. Let's wait some time. Okay, what it is saying? It is asking you to whether do you want me to install the Python. It is asking, but I don't want because Python is already installed. Python is already installed. Okay, fine. Now I don't want to install. Just leave this particular thing. So you see underscore init underscore dot py. This is the code which is generated. Okay, this is the Python code. Basically, I will explain. Do not worry too much. So all the unnecessary code I will remove so that it will give you more flexibility for you. Okay, it will be like very easy. I'll just make it very easy. Okay, first let me just remove whatever is not required by value as else. Okay, fine. Okay, so this is the easiest part that you can able to understand. So see, this is the how it will work is you try to understand import Azure functions as func. Okay, this is the function. Okay, by using this function, I'm going to make the HTTP request. When I'm making the HTTP request, what happens is in that HTTP request, you can make some, you can pass some parameters. Okay, so in that request body, you will have some parameters. So request.params. So maybe you are passing some name. Maybe let's say Cloud Pandit is the name I want to pass. So in this request parameters, I'm getting the name parameter. That name I am assigning to a this name. So if you simply want to, you don't want to do anything, then you can simply return it. But what they are doing here, they are checking something. Let me just keep it here. See what they are doing. If not name, so meaning if the name is empty, okay. If the name is empty, if the name is empty means what happens here? If you get some name, it will be true. But they are making it as a false, and they are going to here. They are going to here. Meaning, if you don't have any value here, if you don't have any value, the name is empty. The name is empty. They are going to just throw a some error. They are going to throw a some error. Try except else. Okay. Try except else. So if you don't want this, you can simply ignore this. Okay. No issue. Okay. So even you don't record all these things, basically you can simply say return whatever name I have received. That yeah, first let it be. I'll just tell you how it will work, then I will just remove all these things. Okay, so for now let it be this code. You can keep it as it is. Okay, now you see this is the code, right? How this code will work, I will tell you. This is a Python code. Okay, if you can able to understand this. So without this also, what I want is basically this line I'm expecting. Remove everything else. Okay, I'll just keep it here. What I will return just to return hello. um, I no need to say all these things as well. I can simply say format name. So yeah, basically what you are doing is you are just passing this name you are passing to here. Okay, hello. If I pass Cloud Pandit, it will become hello Cloud Pandit, this HTTP trigger function executed successfully. That's what it will return. Let's deploy this particular code into my Azure functions. How to deploy? Go to Azure, click on this one, deploy to function app. Okay, this particular code will be deployed into function Azure function automatically. In which subscription we have? In this subscription. Okay, so you have created this the function. Do you want to put it in this particular function app? Yes, I want to deploy this code into this function app. Okay, click deploy. How to see whether it is really deployed or not? Okay, it is deploying to Cloud Pandit from cap. Expand this. I will tell you how to check that. Okay, so expand this, then go to files. So read only, because once you get these things here, you cannot edit it. You cannot edit it. Okay, so that is what you should aware of. One second for this. Okay, so yeah, yes, this function, right? Now you just go to where we are. Yeah, files read, right? In this files read, you can expand this further. Cloud Pandit first function, you see init.py. This is the file which has the actual code. See, push it. So I think after editing we have not saved. Without saving we have deployed. That's why entire code is available in a Azure function. That's okay. Entire code came into the Azure function. Now what you need to do? Go to functions. Okay. Right click on this function. You see something like copy function URL. Copy this function URL. Come here. Put this particular URL here. As I said, I am going to send some parameter, name parameter, right? Name parameter, I'll say cloud funding. Enter. Now it is saying, what it is saying, hello cloud funded. This HTTP trigger function executed successfully. Okay, so I know it will be confusing for you because I have not saved this file. Do one thing. Let me just deploy this one. Save. Yes, I saved this. I'll just deploy this particular new code. Okay, so how you know you have deployed this code? You need to edit further. This function executed successfully and recently updated. Okay, this extra message will come. This particular code, save this, and I'll just deploy it. Okay, where you want to deploy? One second. It's a deploy free trial in this Cloud Panith function app. I want to deploy. Yes, redeploy. So when you redeploy, what happens? Previous code will be overwritten with this new code. Okay, make sure you need to understand this particular thing. Deploying, let it deploy. Okay, this is completed, right? Now just click on init.py now. See, your new file also got this one. Okay, recently updated. See, this is the function which is deployed code. This is the in project code. Okay, both are similar now. The reason is same code, whatever project code you have, that is deployed in the Azure functions. Now go to same URL. Okay, let's make the request once again. So what you are seeing now, hello Cloud Pandit, this HTTP trigger function executed successfully and recently updated. Okay, this is what you are getting here. Now, but my Azure data factory will not accept this output because Azure data factory will accept the output in a JSON format. Okay, what it will accept? It will just accept the JSON format. It will not accept any other format. Okay, clear friends? So it will not accept the any other format. How to make your JSON format output? Okay, for that very simple. Yeah, go here. click on this init.py. See, we came here. You need to return. What you need to return? Import JSON. JSON is already available. You don't need to install. Suppose you want to install any module, then you need to go to requirements.txt. See, this is the Azure function we have. In the same way, you need to put you want PyODBC or whatever modules you want. All those things you need to add it here. Okay. Now come to init.py. Here JSON. I need to pass the JSON output. You know how the JSON values will be there. JSON dot dumps. Otherwise, first don't you will confuse. That's why what I will do, I'll say mm, message equal to this is the message. Okay, I want to return what I want to return. I want to return in a JSON format. I'll say my message colon message. Okay, so this is what friends. This is basically JSON format, isn't it? This is what anybody know JSON format, friends? Anybody know this JSON? Okay. Fine. If you don't know, see, this is a it's a key and this is a value. Okay, this is how you will have a JSON format. Now use this module JSON dot dumps. Okay, so if you want to return, if you want to basically this is a kind of a string. If you want to convert into proper JSON format, you need to dump this string of values into the JSON dumps function. Okay, it will return the JSON object. Okay, that JSON object I want to use it in my this particular information. I will get it as a my output in Azure Data Factory. Now this particular new change I want to deploy for that. First to save it, I saved. Now come here, just click on deploy to same subscription into same Azure function app, deploy. Okay, so one more thing that we need to do is first let it deploy and check whether it is working or not. If it is working, then only we need to go and make the change. Simply if you make change, it will not work. Okay. So your actual function name is Cloud Pandit first function. Okay. Your function name is Cloud Pandit first function. Same thing we can also see it from here. See, it's showing now, it's not showing, right? Now you refresh, it's still not showing. No problem. Click on this Cloud Pandit function, go to functions. We should be able to see, yes, Cloud Pandit first function. This is the function that you are using. This is the function that you are using. Okay. Now, go to Visual Studio Code. Yes, this deployment is finished. Let's check it. What is the output now? See, what is the output now you are saying? A JSON form message equal to hello cloud Pandit. This HTTP to the function executed successfully and recently updated. Okay, fine. Come here. You should know some APIs, friends, if you want to use Azure functions. As we have not discussed, that the APIs and all web application development people will know those things. Okay, that concept and all we don't require. Okay, basically, if we know this much, that's fine. Okay, we just need to call the Azure functions from the data factory as per the need. But you are not going to write the code and all. Okay, there will be separate teams for fine. Now from data factory, I need to call. Listen, what happened? I have not created data factory now. Check it. Let's check this one. Let's click author and monitor. I think this is the morning created one, right? Mm. Yes, there's the morning created one. That's okay. Close this. I want to show you link service everything separately. Let's see. Let me quickly create function app. I'll just say open a PDF with form. Git configuration. Git configure later. Click remove plus create. Click create. Okay, data factory is ready. Just go to resource. Go to data factories. Click on this data factory. Click on and monitor. Come to manage. Click new. Compute Azure functions. Click continue. This is what LS for okay. So subscription is this, function Azure function app URL. App URL is nothing but this one. Okay, whatever you have copied. Don't put these parameters. Okay, just to take it here. Otherwise, you go back to Azure functions here. Click on this. Okay, this is the function, right? Right click on this. Copy function URL. With that function URL, I'm going to so the function URL automatically came up here in the drop down itself. You can select it. Function key. Go to portal. Okay, you see you have something with function key. This is our function, right? Go to function key. You will have a default key, but if you want to create your own key, you can see show values. It will show this value. Copy this value. Hide values. Go back. Put this value here. You don't have anything to test it. It's compute. You just have to create it. Okay. So once you have created, come to author tab, create a pipeline for Tomcat. Go to Azure Functions, bring Azure Functions here, go to settings. You can say this is the linked service we have created and function name. What is the function name? What is the function? This is your function. Not this is not your function. This data factory, right? This is your function. Copy this here. Your function. Okay, Cloud Pandit first function. So what there will be method you need to use. The method is post if you want to send any information. What is the information I need to send here? I need to pass some name. Let's say name, I can say name. So previously you have passed in URL, but now you need to pass here name colon. You can say cloud. This is equal colon. Let's see if it is not working. I'll just change it to the equal to. Let's debug. Append Azure function is succeeded. Click on this and see what is the output you are getting. The output is message. Hello. none. This HTTP trigger function executed successfully and recently updated. Hello, none came. None went means this particular body you have not passed correctly. You need to pass with equal to, not colon then. Just debug once again. This time we'll see. Click. Actually, I'm getting none. Debug once again. Okay, so there is some issue. Come here. But when we go checking here, it is working fine, right? Hello, Cloud Palette came here. Name equal to Cloud Palette. Enter. Yes, it is coming. It is working. From Azure Data Factory, what is happening? I just check why it is not working. Okay. So I think what we need to do, we need to get the body, okay, requested body, request. On this request, I think we need to read that JSON. Okay, as a JSON format, I'm going to send that as a request body. In that request body, I'm going to read the name. This name we should have, and I think this name I'm going to return it. 1 second. I need to say here. And just simply say that. Otherwise, I'll write my own message. Okay. JSON dot. First, let's create the JSON object that you can say message equal to, you can say support to Cloud Pandit. Okay, that is the message I want to print it. Okay, so for that you need to say 0 and your format is name. Now what it will do basically, 0 means I discussed, right, formats. We discussed this name if it go here as Cloud Pandit, okay, that will be used here. If you have a name comma something phone number, so this will be 0, next one is a 1. So as I'm using 0, so that the first argument value will go here, that is a 0. Let it be this particular data, this particular thing I want to deploy into Azure function. Let's see, just click on this, click on free trial this function, click reply, because here the parameters I'm just reading, but from like data factor I'm going to pass a body, okay, requested body. If you want to receive, read the JSON value, from that JSON value take the name. Okay, so here I'm just passing a name. This entire thing is called a JSON, read JSON, then you just collect the name. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Let it deploy. Once it is deployed, and just to try to understand things. So this code will change once it is deployment is completed. I think once it is deployed, our data factor will get the actual value. Okay, so basically the deployment is completed. The deployment is completed. Now what we will do, close this. Yeah, we will test this. Yeah, let's refresh this and get it. Refresh this. It is refreshing. Let's wait. Yeah, this is the new code which we have. Okay, now first I will make the request through the browser. Just make the request through the browser. So there is no change. See, it is stopped working. That is what I want to check. Okay, it is stopped working. We made some mistake, I think. What is this JSON? We forgot to put something called, we forgot to put something. What is that something? Import JSON. JSON dot dumps. Okay, this is what we need to do. Again, redeploy. Yes, as you make the mistake, you need to redeploy. Keep redeploying. Okay. Okay, it is completed. Let's make the request once again through this. What is the problem? JSON, imported JSON dot dumps message equal to message, not message equal to, right? I think message colon, right? Message colon, you should have shit. Sorry. I'm making all mistakes. Yes, it's done. Let's make the request once again. What happened? Suddenly it stopped working. It should work now, but still it is not working. Go to init.py. Why this change? Should without saving I deployed. I think. Wait for 2 minutes. Yes. This should work this time. If it is not working, yes. Message, thank you all for your support to Cloud. Okay. Now come here. Let's debug now. It should work. We'll see. Yes, it has failed successfully. Let's see why it has failed now. Response content is not a valid GA object. The response content is not a, okay, let's say, hold on, debug this. Yes, it is succeeded. Okay. Now just check your output. So it is coming. Thank you all for your support to Cloud. Okay. Now, so if you change this parameter, so it will just change as you change. Okay. Batch 23. If I give just debug, okay, just check on this. So thank you all for your support to batch 23. Yeah, something like that. So as you give the parameters, if you can just pass those parameters, you can work with those parameters, and you can get the output to your Azure function. So you know how you can use this particular function in your other activities, right? You can say at the rate activity of Azure function dot output dot message, then it will come. So when you say output dot value will come. So as you pass key value, so this key and value we need to pass. Okay, I have passed it. Okay, I know little confusing, but you just check it if you want. When you get this particular requirement, you just watch it, how you can connect to the Azure functions, how to integrate Azure functions with Azure Data Factory, all these things you can able to learn. Okay, any questions, friends? Any questions? Fine, if no questions, that's all for today, friends. Thank you all. Thank you.